This is something that, very recently I've had some of my discussions with the customers as well. The first thing they say is, hey, we have 400 application developers or 400 developers in the organization, and we are a security team of 10. How much do you want us to keep up with the pace at which the development is happening? So one of the challenges, like, we need to prioritize everything that comes to the security teams. They need to prioritize in terms of what is the most significant risk that can put us out there and expose us as an organization. And that's what they're mostly challenged about. And they're also keeping up with this rapid innovation that's happening. So in a way, I would like to say that with that your resources are finite, and you have to be really intelligent when you have to think about how early I need to protect some of these vulnerabilities that are either in code or your GitHub or any other repos that are there even before some of these applications make it to the production. And that's where I see the need is that you need a lot of automation first thing in place, which can help with how proactively can I harden the security with better automation, better integrated solutions that I can have in a single platform. And also, how can I learn from my runtime applications and then feed this back to my developers or your application teams and meet them where they are, not having them to be blocked from some of these development challenges posed and exponentially growing with security added onto it, right? So that's where I think that what I see as some of the challenges in this space, how shift left is taking place and increasing importance in the overall cloud security space.
So I think that we have to leverage the tools more, but the way that the cloud security tools and the DevSecOps security tools were organized, they were working silos. So the insights from the security tools that developers use were never consumed by the cloud security administrators. So they don't know what's going on their world. How can I get those insights to prioritize my risk? They don't know. And that's I think is the biggest thing about CNAPP is because it combined both worlds, right? I'm using the insights from DevSecOps to rationalize the things that I need to remediate first in my cloud infrastructure, and also add guardrails to help them not shipping bad code to the cloud. So it's a win-win situation because it gives me awareness about what they are doing, and it helped me to educate them on how to do better. That's why I think that the CNAPP is a game changer for both type of teams that don't historically talk to each other and they use different tools. With the attack path, which is a term also from the CNAPP structure, we are able to, first of all, the reason why we are able to create the attack path to disrupt further attacks is we get all the artifacts that we need. We scan all the artifacts, right, which is one of the premise of CNAPP. We build this big data with all the insights, and then we create the attack path. And I'm able to not only see from the posture perspective why the threat actor is able to move laterally between those workloads, but if there is an active threat actor trying to get into that storage account, for example, I already have correlation with my workload protection, and I show this in the same interface. So materializing exactly what Anna is saying, which is I don't want to leave dashboards to look at this in a different place. I want to just in one single place pivot from this posture workload if it's getting attacked from where and everything. So there are many scenarios that we already materialize in Defender for Cloud to accomplish this vision.
When we talk about CIEM or DSPM, right, they are definitely contributing to the larger CNAPP picture, but fundamentally they achieve a specific value proposition that customers can get, regardless of whether they're in CNAPP or using a specific dedicated solution, right? So first of all, like your CIEM capabilities, they mainly are designed to identify anybody having excessive permissions, your identity controls, monitoring your authorizations, bunch of other identity-based access controls into it. And it's really important to have that visibility that, hey, I have an employee and he has access to hundreds of applications today. What is the right identity posture that he has, and what kind of entitlements we have offered him, and how effectively is that being used, right? But then when we talk about DSPM, it's a whole different story. End of the day, I think customers' goal is to understand what are the good data security controls that I have across the board. Like I can define a data as classified or secret, and I can, there is a good governance program that goes on across organizations where they define here is the set of data that we assign them as critical or secret. But when it actually gets into use or when you operationalize it in your in the day-to-day life within organizations, now there has to be a common taxonomy that is understood across the board. Having a good posture on data security, where is the data flowing, both using APIs across your applications or when they're stored away in some storage or some database there. Having a good understanding of the data across your resources, your files, email, SharePoint, wherever it is, and bringing that into a single view, telling that, okay, here are all the different phases of your application lifecycle or your cloud resource journey. And these are the points where you're exposing this. And this is specifically drive actions to mitigate them. That's how I think it'll be a biggest value to contribute to the broader, umbrella of what we can add it as a CNAPP protection, which includes both these terms, by the way.
Just one comment on that, because I think one of the advantage, we know that how hard it is for customers to do data classification on their own. And I think that when we bring the data security posture as part of the CNAPP, we are helping customers to do this classification and this discovery, because I think that one of the biggest challenges is discovery where the data is located. If you think about in a multi-cloud environment, where you have data across AWS, GCP, all across the place, and they don't have the discoverability at all for the most part, at least the vast majority of customers that I work with. So when they adopt a CNAPP strategy, that they are able to, with one single platform, do the data discover and the base classification, it brings a better feeling of control and also understanding the risk. Because, for example, if I have an exposed storage account that has PII, that definitely should be my number one priority. But without that capability baked into the CNAPP, now I have to purchase a whole different product that will do that for me, but will not exchange signals with my CNAPP. So now I have to do two different efforts, one effort just related to data classification and everything. So I see a huge advantage of having data posture as part of the CNAPP. This is a typical scenario that the answer will vary according to the maturity level of the company, to be very honest, because what happened is if the company is not very mature on this CNAPP journey, they just don't have the habit of doing proactive hunting of things like that, right? So if, for example, for companies that are just starting this journey, they are still progressing to use CNAPP capabilities to its fullest. There are a lot of things to be leveraged, but you cannot compare, for example, a company that just started this journey with another company that is already 1 year and a half on this journey, and they were able to elevate their secure posture, and now they are doing proactive hunting of things. Because for you to identify if this type of issue is spread across your environment, you need to proactively query across all the workloads to better understand. CNAPP provide tools for that and multi-cloud tools for that. So if the company has already matured and they have a team that is responsible to do proactive hunting and understanding the vulnerability of the environment, because vulnerability assessment is also part of CNAPP, we'll be able to get those insights and prevent before the threat actor exploit. So it really varies on how well are you utilizing the tool at that point. And just to give the data, according to one of our own Microsoft Defense Digital Report survey, 98% of the attacks could have been prevented with basic security hygiene. If you just do the basic hygiene, you're going to be very well protected for the most part.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I was going to, add to that as well, Yuri, because I think what Anna brought up was an important point, right? Like you need to have cloud source tools in place that can establish those baseline controls and whatever it takes. But I think what's also most important is that, for example, in the case of exe utilities, right, whatever the vulnerability is, it was actually an offshoot of a performance issue that's an engineer looked into and eventually turned out to be a security threat. So when I talk to customers as well, they ask like, hey, even if there is some anomalies that doesn't look like it is a threat, we would want to know that if it's not a business as usual problem for us. And I think that's how the maturity in terms of detections, how they're actually learning and understanding the behavior of these different applications will play a critical role in bringing these kind of visibility to security teams ahead. So then they can use these indicators to go and investigate some of the potential issues that could be resolved earlier in the overall security operations lifecycle, right?